origins. They can trace it all the way back to what they call the Uthmanic recension. This is the Uthmanic recension. This is the same book that was compiled by Uthman, that he had those four men, Zubair, Alas, Harith, and Zayd ibn Thabit. The four men write that Quran. That's what they say. It's not me saying it. This is what the Muslims say. When was it written down? According to Al-Bukhari, and this is what Al-Bukhari's written. You can see it on the right there. This is the translation on the left. That Uthman in 650 did not have the entire corrected Quran text at hand, as Al-Bukhari admits. A large part of the Quran may be lost. For he then orders three to help Zayd ibn Thabit, Zubair, Alas, and Harith, to revise the codex, which was given to Hafsa, the daughter of Umar, and correct it where necessary, even recalling a verse, chapter 33, verse 23, which had been missing from the original text. Isn't that curious? Uthman then takes Hafsa's Quranic manuscript and has the four compilers rewrite the text. And in case they disagreed, they were to write it in the dialect of the Quraysh, and ordered that all the other Quranic materials, whether written in fragmentary manuscript or whole copies, be burnt. Why would you burn manuscripts? Unless they disagreed. He then sent every Muslim province one copy of what had been copied. And that's what Muslims have told me for 30 years. And that's what you've heard. That four copies were then made of the original Quran. One was left in Medina, one was sent to Basra, one was sent to Baghdad, and one was sent to Damascus. Have you heard this? Every Muslim will tell you this. And if there are any Muslims here in the room tonight, you will agree that there have been four original copies. Where are those copies? That's what we're asking tonight. Where are those copies? And I've asked this for 30 years. And in every debate, I've asked, where are those copies? Now, Muslims always tell me that two of the copies still exist today. One is called the Topkapi manuscript, which is in the Topkapi Palace, there in the Topkapi Museum in Istanbul, in Turkey. And the other is called the Samarkand manuscript, which is in Tashkent, in Uzbekistan. This is the Topkapi manuscript, and there's a picture of it. The Topkapi manuscript. If you look up on the screen, you will notice, if you look carefully, you can see some blood stain right there. See some blood stain on it right there? That, according to Islamic tradition, is the blood stain of Uthman. He was reading it, and while he was reading, he was killed, and that's his blood on the copy. So this is an original Uthmanic recension. This is what every Muslim tells me. And if there's any Muslims here tonight, please tell me I'm wrong. Because this is what every Muslim has told me. This is the original copy. In Turkey, in Istanbul. And there's been no reason for me to disagree, because I've never been able to look at it. None of us have been able to do any study on it. We can't do any forensic testing. I'd love to do some accelerated mass spectrography. I'd love to be able to do some carbon testing on it, dating it to make sure that this is from the 7th century. We're not able to touch it. No one can touch it. This is the other one, the second one, the Samarkand. There's a picture of it up on the wall. The Samarkand is in Tashkent. That, according to Muslims, is the second manuscript. These are what are known as the Uthmanic recensions. Now, since no one has been able to look at it, of course, there's been a problem. We've just had to take them at their word. That wasn't until 2002. In 2002, two men in Turkey were then given access to this manuscript and also to the Tashkent manuscript. These two men are known as Dr. Ekmeledin Isanoglu and Dr. Tayyar Altikulic. The reason they were given access to it is because they are the ones that actually control those manuscripts. They live in Turkey. Dr. Tayyar Altikulic is the world's scholar, leading scholar in Quranic studies, ex-president of Turkish Religious Affairs, deputy in the Turkish parliament. He was given access to it in 2002, and for 5 years, he was able then to look at it from 2002 until 2007. I was only given his response. I was only given their response in May of this year, and here it is right here. This is 83 pages long. Actually, it's a 1,000-page book that they finally wrote. I only found out about this in May of this year. And let's hear what they are now saying. Now remember, these are the only scholars who have been given access to any of these manuscripts. And it's not just these two. I'll go about 4 other manuscripts as well. According to Dr. Ertan Insanoglu, he says that the Topkapi manuscript is not Uthmanic at all. Nor do we have any of the copies of these mushafs. These mushafs, that's the manuscripts, date from the later Umayyad period. Dr. Tayyar Altikulic goes on, he says there's no serious scholarly work has been done on them. These Musafs date from the early mid-8th century. They are not Uthmanic, nor copies sent by him. The Topkapi manuscript, in fact, he says, has 2,270 manuscript variants. That means consonantal differences between that manuscript and the text that we have today. 2,270. The Toscat manuscript. He said when he looked at it, he realized that there were some problems here. It was obvious that whoever wrote that manuscript did not know Arabic very well. It has undisciplined spelling, different writing styles, scribal mistakes, copyist mistakes, written by someone with little experience, with later additions, and it only goes up to Surah 43. There's 114 surahs in the Quran. It's not even complete. Then he was given access to the Husayni manuscript, which is another one of these supposed Uthmanic recensions. Dr. Tayyad Altakulik said this is not Uthmanic. It is dated from the early mid-century. The Paris Petropatalonist manuscript, which is in France, in Paris, done by Dr. Francois de Roche, says that there are 5 different copies. Corrections were made to the text. When comparing with the Cairo edition, which is this canonized text, there are many words turn out to be written in a different way. Many questions still remain unanswered. What was more, he said, that it disagrees with the canonical readings in 93 places. Why haven't we been told this before?